Well, my friends, there's frost on the pumpkins this morning. I'll tell you about that, and I'll tell you all the progress I made on that Washburn guitar. I'll even tell you how I'm organizing some of the artifacts I found. We'll discuss all those things right after this. Hello, my friends. Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa String Works Workshop. It is February 1st, 2023. Tomorrow is Groundhog's Day, and as cold as it is here, I'm headed straight out after this video, and I'm going to find me a groundhog, and I'm going to make that sucker talk. The last thing we want right now is 6 more weeks of winter. Oh my gosh, is it ever cold. It's 13 degrees here on the homestead this morning, and this is like the third morning in a row it's been pretty close to that cold. I think this is the coldest morning, but it's been pretty chilly. I mean, considering 32 degrees Fahrenheit is freezing, 13 degrees is just flat cold. And I realize it gets much colder in other parts of the country, but we're talking southern Missouri here, so it's not supposed to be this cold. Yeah, if it hovers around 32 degrees, in a winter, that's not a big deal. I'm hoping that we don't have any frozen pipes again this time. We've taken all the precautions we know how to take. That's all I can tell you. And I insulated everything as well as I could do it, so I'm just praying that it's going to be fine. We had a good jam at Dickey's Barbecue last night. In fact, it was our biggest crowd of the year so far, and it wasn't huge by any stretch, but there were, 5 or 6 couples there during the peak. Seemed to really enjoy it, and I think the band was really on last night, and so, we had a great time. One of these times, you're going to have to come out and join us. We'd love to have you. I mentioned yesterday the band is booked on March 18th at the Vichy Firehouse in Vichy, Missouri. And I mentioned that it would probably start around 7, because at that time I didn't know. But last night I learned that it may start at 6. So anyway, we don't have a definite time yet, but I would at least mark it down for 6 o'clock, and that way if you show up a little early, you won't miss anything. Well, I said I made some progress on this Washburn guitar, and I sure did. Looky there, we got the holes in it, we got the saddle in it. It looks really good. I did a fret leveling. I've started filling the holes here. I'll have to dye that black and all that where I had those holes drilled in trying to free the neck. Turned out didn't need to do that anyway. It just, that old hide glue just popped loose as soon as I got the extension loose. The neck just basically popped out of there once I gave it a little bit of a twist. That's all it took, and it just came loose. Got some more cleanup to do. I have wiped down the peg head a little bit. There's just general stuff to do on this before I start stringing it up, but it is looking pretty good. That was a big step, getting that saddle exactly in the right spot, and I did that with my intonation rig like I usually do. You'll see that in the full video down the road. You notice I've taken the tuning keys out of it. I have basically restored those keys. Look how shiny they are now. Of course, you don't have a basis of comparison, but they were very, very tarnished. Just take my word for it. You definitely couldn't see any shiny reflection like that. Anyway, I just took them over to the buffing wheel and buffed them all out. I'm going to put a drop of oil on the actual threaded part. Now, these are friction tuning keys, so the oil isn't going to affect the friction part. It's just the screw that goes up on the inside that tightens it up. And you do want to keep that lubricated because you don't want that screw to wear out. All that does is draw the two pieces together for the friction. And the friction is what holds it. The oil won't affect that part of the working. I will say that I also started making the pegs for this. These were just raw ebony pegs. My buddy up there in Canada, his J.P. Cormier, says that he does not like these ebony pins, and I kind of agree with him. They're not my favorite either. I don't think that very many people would hear the difference. I do know people that are as specific about their instruments and their playing as J.P. He would hear it for sure. But anyway, the bottom line is that the ebony pegs are not my favorite choice either. I do like a little harder peg, a bone peg, or a real hard plastic. JP says his favorite is the Tusk which is a plastic. It's a real hard man-made type material, and that transfers the sound better. A soft plastic is not that good because it deforms. There's just all kinds of issues with things. But for me, and for the period correctness of this guitar, I think the ebony pegs is the way to go. Not necessarily for the sound, you understand. We're not trying to get every teeny bit of sound out of this thing. We're just trying to get it back to the original condition. That's what the customer wants, and so that's why we're doing that. Just to clarify. But I did have to cut grooves in these pegs. I don't know if you can see the groove there, but there is a groove in it now, and I did bevel them off so that the balls won't sit on the ends there. And let me think, did I do anything else to this thing? I did so many things, it's hard to say. And we're about ready to string it up. Just a few more cosmetic issues, and we get past those, then we'll be stringing this up hopefully this afternoon, and maybe tomorrow we can play it for you. If not, for sure, on the Shop Talk on Friday. I also mentioned I was doing something to organize the artifacts that I'm finding. I'm just going to show you one of the organization things that I'm doing here, and this is for the shotgun shell head stamps, which is actually proving to be one of the better finds back there, believe it or not, even though that they're kind of like the soda tab of yesteryear, if you will. Most people don't really want to find these things, but in this particular case, because these house places are so old in the 1800s, almost every single one I find is from the 1800s. The proof of that is the fact that you can go to these websites and they actually date the head stamp. Sure enough, most of these are from the 1800s. I'll turn the camera down here and show you how I'm organizing it. I don't think you're going to be able to see the labels and things, but you can see how I've broken them up into different boxes here, and I have a label for each little box. And I'll just give you an example. Let's see, this box right here, this is the one that contains the full-length brass shell. This one says USC Company number 10, so it's a 10 gauge. They call these shotgun shells different things, and the name of this shotgun shell is called Lowell. Anyway, it's pre-1890. Here's the one that has the most shells in it, and these are UMC Company. The name of these shells is called New Club. All of them say New Club on them, and these were made from 1892 to 1896. So you can see that was a very active period on the farm. Anyway, all the rest of them are similar like that. I think the oldest one that I have a date on is 1884. I don't see that right at the moment, but it's, anyway, there's some pretty old stuff here. This one's 1894 all the way up to 1938, to give you an idea. That's how long that particular shell was made. Here's the 1884 to 1897. Anyway, that's how I'm organizing them, and that gives me a place to put them when I find them that way, instead of just throwing them in a big jar or something. Now that I have them organized, I feel much better about it, because when I find them back there, then I can just come here and look at the labels and go, which one of these does it match, and drop it in the right box. And on the rare occasion that I find a new one that I haven't found, I'll create a new label and put it in a new place. So it's working out pretty well to do it that way. I wish I would find as many coins as I'm finding shotgun shell head stamps, but unfortunately that's not the case. And lastly, I want to give a shout out to the Domino family of Tempe, Arizona. They sent me a little note here and said that they're keeping our family in the prayers. They had made a recommendation for me to get a hold of one of these hot wax tubs. It melts paraffin wax basically, and you can put your hands in it, and it's supposed to be good for arthritis. And quite fortunately, we actually do have one of these tubs, and another person or two has recommended that we try that. So my wife, after seeing this, dug that out last night, and we're cleaning that up. It's been in the closet for quite a while. You know how it is. I did use it years ago, but that was really before the arthritis started hitting hard. And quite honestly, I don't talk about the arthritis too much because I feel like it's a broken record. It is definitely not getting better, and it is definitely getting worse. The hands are really, really sore. It's really starting to affect the playing. If you saw the last Friday's shop talk, I tried to kick off with my little version of Wayfaring Stranger. Yeah, it's, I got about 75% of it. And I think that a lot of that's due to the hands. The hands are especially stiff in the mornings. It takes a while to loosen them up. The thing I found the best, and you might want to try this if you're suffering from arthritis, the thing I found that works the best is the vibrating little tool, that little handle thing that has a vibrator ball on it, and you just rub it around on your hand. And I use it on my neck and my shoulders, and I even use it on my throat and my cheeks and everything. It does seem to really stimulate and get the blood flowing. When the pain gets really sharp, it does seem to lessen that pain. I really thought that vibrator would make it hurt worse. And quite honestly, it doesn't hurt at all. And I really thought it would just tear my hands up. I thought, man, I'm afraid to try that thing. And sure enough, once I tried it, I thought, wow, that actually feels good. And that doesn't make it go away exactly. What it does is it seems to lessen the severity of the pain at the time. That's the best way I can explain it. But it definitely does help. Well, I think that's going to be about it for today. As I mentioned, I'm going to go out hunt a groundhog, and I'm going to make that sucker say it's going to be nice weather from here on out. He's not about to say there's going to be 6 more weeks of winter, or he's going to... We'll see you tomorrow.